Today I'm making a bee wreath, and what my materials are going to be are 2 of these fall fabric striped mesh. So 2 of these, they are 10 by 10, and I got these at Old Time Pottery. You can see right there, Old Time Pottery, $7.99. I think I got these last year, so they may be a little bit more this year. Actually, I got them on sale last year. So anytime you can find something on sale, that's what you want to do. So I have 2 of these. I didn't even use all of the roll. I may have used actually 1 of these full ones and a little bit of another one, because I'm going to add, so I cut 30-inch strips of this. And I did 12. I did 12 strips of this, 30 inches. Because I had these left over, I'm going to use these. These are only cut at 24 inches, but that's okay. I'm okay with that. And so I have 6 of these. So I'm using leftover stuff in this wreath because that's how I get rid of it. I don't like all this stuff, just the single stuff laying around like this. So make sure you have at least 2 of these in case you need them. And then I use 6 of these. If you have enough of this, I would do 9 of these at 30 inches. However, again, I'm using what I have left over. I have 6 of the black and white striped at 24 inches long. All right, so that's our mesh that we're going to be using. I'm actually going to be using a little bit of the 21-inch mesh as well, just to do my poofs on the top layer of my wreath form. So you're going to need some of that, not a whole roll, but you're going to need some of it. I have a wreath form. I am using a brown one because I'm not sure if I said it at the beginning. I'm making a bee wreath. So brown, you could use brown. You can use, my colors are black and white, brown, the honeycomb colors, the different color yellows and kind of golden, and then black and white stripes. And so basically black and white, yellow, a little bit of goldish inside, and some green. So those are my colors. So I went with a brown wreath frame. You can use basically any color you want. Just make sure they match what you're doing. That's all you got to do. Just try to keep the colors coordinated. And I use a already pre-made wreath form from Old Time Pottery. I love these. Some people get them from Craft Outlet. They're made a little bit different, and that's okay. They're still good. They're already pre-made. Some people use the dollar store ones and add their own pipe cleaners. Whatever you need to do, that's what you do. Here, I just like to do it the easy way. Like I said, mine come from Old Time Pottery, and they are $5.99 a piece. And they come with 18 sets of pipe cleaners. Sometimes you have to move them around because they come a little wonky, however they make them. They may not be spaced out correctly, or they may be one more on top than on the bottom, that type of thing. So just make sure when you get your wreath form out, just make sure you have 18 sets of pipe cleaners, number 1. Number 2, make sure that there's 8 on the top layer and 10 on the bottom. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's what we have. So you're going to need one of these, whichever kind you use. Like I said, I went through all, like Dollar Tree, Craft Outlet, Old Time Pottery. Those are places you can get wreath forms. I'm sure there's tons of other places, but that's what I use sometimes. The ribbon I have is a really cute, whimsical, I say whimsical, it's a honeycomb. So I have a honeycomb. This is a 1.5 inch, and it's cut at 14 inches. I have and I got this at Sam's Club last year. I'm pretty sure they probably had it this year too, but last year I got it. I have this really pretty ribbon right here with some bees, black and white stripes, yellow honeycomb, and this was where the little bit of green comes in, and I have some white on this one. I got this one at home. It's not my favorite material to use, but it's okay. It's not the sheer kind, so it's not as bad. Some more of the honeycomb because I'm going to use it twice. I'm going to match it up and pair it up twice. And then I have this black and white check with yellow, but it's actually a double. So it has yellow on one side, black and white check on the other. And then I have this little whimsical bee black and white check with yellow and white in it. And then I have a black and white stripe. So all of these together I'm going to incorporate into this wreath, and we're going to make a little bee wreath. What I have to decorate so far is this little bee. I got this at home and it was $4.99. I think it was a percentage off, but anyway, if not, it's still not a bad price. Cute little bee, if you can see it. And they're at home right now. They're really cute. It doesn't have black and white on it, but that's okay. If I wanted to, I can add some twine that's black or something if I wanted to, but I think it's cute by itself. Let's go ahead and get started. I've attached I've put my 21 inch mesh onto my mesh holder right here, and that's how I'm going to start this process, okay? Do you need one of these? No. If you have a table, just throw it over the side of the table and just pull it up and just roll it as you go. That's as simple as it has to be. This makes it a little bit easier and a little bit more controllable, and so I do like this thing. With that, I do these multiple ways. Sometimes I do 21 inch mesh all the way around with the poofs on the bottom and the top layer, because this is a 2-tier wreath form. Sometimes I use 10 inch mesh just on the top to make the poofs. This time I'm going to use 21 inch mesh because I want to see what it looks like. I've been doing the 10 inch mesh poofs. I have not tried the 21 inch mesh poofs on just the top layer because, you know, we're all trying to save right now. We don't want to use and waste mesh if we don't have to. And these come out really, really nice still. They still come out really thick and really pretty and really fluffy. So that's why I like saving my mesh and just doing the poofs on the top of the wreath form. So like I said, I'm just going to use the 21 inch mesh today, and I'm going to do my 10 inch poofs around the top only. So how I started is I just roll it in towards each other and I create like a little funnel just like that, and then I just place it into the pipe cleaner. And to secure it, that's important because it will come apart. And then you're just going to go around the wreath. I don't measure anymore. You can measure on your pad 10 inches. I just technically go to the second pipe cleaner that I'm not using. So here's where I start. Here's the first pipe cleaner where I'm going to do my poof, and I'm going to use it to secure it. But this is the second pipe cleaner. That's what I'm going to use to measure this poof with. So I just pull it, measure it, place it, and then I just secure it. I used to have like a little saying. I used to pull, measure, poof, and place. So if you want to keep that in mind, pull, measure, poof, and place, that's the perfect way to remember what you need to do. Now, what the 21 inch mesh is going to do, vice what the 10 inch mesh is going to do, is going to give you more material here that you can pull apart. Well, technically, you don't have to, because that's a big poof and this is a big poof right here already. You don't really need to pull these apart, but we'll see what this looks like once I get the whole top done, okay? So again, pull, measure, and that's about 10 inches, give or take, poof, and place. And we're gonna go around this whole top layer again. What the poofs do for you is it gives that a little bit extra dimension to your wreath is what it does. It actually also helps with anytime there's like a space between mesh, you don't want to see through your wreath. So this kind of helps not being able to see through your wreath. This mesh roll was not full, and I got just enough to do this one, so that worked out good for me. And then we're going to untie this one because this is where we started from, but we got to be careful because we have that little tail here that can pop out, so we don't want that to pop out. So just be very careful. And then you're just going to place, well, let me pull this off here because I'm at the end of my roll here. So let me just pull it, measure it, and then poof and place it. The most important thing is to keep them consistent in their size. You don't want to make them you don't want it to be too big of a difference between the size and poofs. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut off this excess about 1 inch from where I started from, and that's it. That's what we do. Now this is a little wonky, so I want to touch it up a little bit because it looks a little crazy, so I am going to poof it a little bit. So I'm not going to pull them all the way out. I'm just going to move them around just so they're facing the way I want them to face. So just pull them apart a little bit, bring them up, and just poof them a little bit. Sometimes you might need to bring them out a little bit, but not always. And then just go around the whole thing. Do the same thing all over. You see how it's just opening it up? It's making the shapes a little bit more consistent around the wreath, and they're facing the right way is what I want. So that looks just a little bit better. And that is going to be the start of our bee wreath. It's so cute. All right, so trying to see. I got this new little hanger thing, so I'm just trying to see how this is all going to work out. All right, so now what we do, I can get rid of this mesh holder because I don't need it anymore. And what we're going to do is we are going to do our woodland ruffle. I'm going to do a woodland ruffle. You can do just a regular ruffle on this. You can do... If I had more of the black and white, I would think about doing the roll method, but I personally like the woodland ruffle. I like the way it looks. The reason I like the way it looks is because it's a combination of the roll and the ruffle, and you see all of it. So I just love it. So what I'm going to do is I'll show you how I do the woodland ruffle. Since I only have 6 of these black and white striped, I'm going to use... thinking 3 on the bottom and 3 on the top. Okay, so I'm going to have to strategically place these in my wreath form. We'll see, because I have 8 on the top. And so I have 8. So what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and place the 3 that I want to place on the top and the bottom, because I don't want them to be all on one side. So let me go ahead and figure out where I'm going to do this at. Okay, so let me roll. So you roll. You probably want, let me see, do I have one? You probably want a clip of some sort. I do have this clip right here I can use for now. It's just a clothespin. You just hold that side, flip it around, and then you do this other side. And then you're just gonna pull the mesh together, keep it straight. And you're going to bring them together, and you're just going to create, that's what a woodland ruffle looks like. I'm going to place it in just as such. You have the roll here, roll, so there's 4, 1 on each corner, and then you have the ruffle in the middle there. That's what the woodland ruffle is. So I'm just going to place this in one of these, starting at the bottom. And I'm just going to wrap the pipe cleaner around, and that's where I'm going to do it. Now, I want to strategically place these because I'm doing 3 on the top, 3 on the bottom. So I'm going to put 1 here, probably 1 here, and then probably 1 up here. And then when I do the top, I'm probably going to put here and here and here, if that makes sense to you. So let me go do it again. So you're just going to roll. You want to clip it. I'm in the middle of changing my craft area, so my stuff is everywhere. I have kind of overgrown the room I was in, so it is what it is. Okay, so I have 1 here. I'm probably going to put 1 here, so I'm going to put this one down here. And then I'm probably going to put another one right over here. And that's where I'm going to strategically place these on the bottom. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the top as well. But let me finish these. Remember, this one is smaller. I only made this a 24-inch because I made a pirate wreath with these. And so I made it with the 24-inch. And that just goes to show you, you find out what length you like on your wreath. Everybody does them differently at different lengths. I prefer the 30-inch woodland ruffle, but that's just me. You don't have to do it. This is what the 24-inch looks like. So there you go. It's just as pretty. And the yellow is going to fill it up. So now I'm going to do the black and white on the top only because I want to have these already placed when I'm putting in the yellow, okay? So I'm just going to roll again. And I'm not doing them tight. I'm not doing a tight roll. I'm just doing a very relaxed roll. As my husband would say, like a burrito. So you're just going to roll it. And then you're just going to pull it together. This mesh is driving me crazy. I've already cut all my mesh, so I just have it laying around. And it gets in my way. Okay, so we got the two here. So I'm just going to place one here. Because this is my other one and it's too close, so I'm just going to place it here. So you undo the pipe cleaner from when you place the poofs. I'm just going to add that in. And look, you can use your extra stuff as fillers because I'll tell you, it just gets to be too much to house these extra pieces laying around. That's why I try to incorporate them into my different wreaths. For Christmas, I did one that I incorporated all kinds of different mesh together. It was all the same color palette, but it was all different. It was funny. I thought I got a kick out of it. But at least I got rid of my mesh and it looked really cute in the outcome. Once it was finished, it was really cute. Because guess what? Nobody knows if you're doing it on purpose or not. So I'm going with, I do these things on purpose now because I can. And the good thing, okay, so a lot of people do just the mesh wreaths. I probably wouldn't do this so much if I just did mesh wreaths. So let me walk that back a little bit. With that being said, I use ribbon. And my ribbon covers up a lot of this mesh. The mesh I only use really to help with the gaps and to make dimension. That's really all I look at the mesh for. I don't make just plain mesh wreaths. People do. They come out really pretty. I just don't do it. I like to make ribbon wreaths, so that's what I do. All right, so there are our black and white pieces strategically placed. Now we're going to fill it, the rest of it, with this. I'm going to start at the bottom. And I'm going to go around and then I'll do the top. I'm going to go ahead and fast forward. I'll do a couple and then I'll fast forward so you don't have to sit here and watch me do all of this. So what we do is we just roll it. Clip it. Turn it. And you're going to roll the other side. And then if you are a beginner, I'll show you a tool, a little cheat that you can use so this doesn't keep flipping over on you and stuff. So you're just going to, here's your woodland ruffle, and this is the 30-inch, so you'll see it's a little bit more hardier. It's a little bit bigger, and it is what we need. And there we go. There's the beginning of the yellow and white. So I'm just going to go around again, like I said, all the way around. So if you are a beginner and you haven't done a woodland ruffle, my suggestion would be is to get something heavy, like a pair of scissors, whatever you have, and place it on the opposite side that you're working on so it holds it in place. It helps out a lot because nothing is getting in your way at the moment, and you can roll without having to worry about anything. There's my roll. I clip it. I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to have that hold down there in case that one you saw earlier where this kept coming up, flipping forward. We don't want that, so we're going to have it down there. And then you're just going to, again, pull the mesh towards you, gathering it as you go. And you're going to bring the two sides together, and that is what creates your woodland ruffle. We're going to place it in the pipe cleaners. And there it is. This is for my office. I made before you see this one, I'll probably have a Mardi Gras one out. I made a Mardi Gras for my office. It's already sold. The young ladies in my office, they like my wreaths, so they buy them. So now I have and that was last week. This week I have to make me a bee wreath because my Mardi Gras one is gone. So now I have to redecorate my office. I don't mind. I enjoy. I really appreciate that they like my stuff. But at this point, I'm going to go ahead and fast forward. So I will see you after all of these are placed into the wreath form. Okay, now I just want to make sure I got one in every pipe cleaner because I feel like I have some left. I'm going to make a 3-bow wreath, meaning I'm going to make 3 bows. Sometimes I do a no-bow wreath. That's usually when I'm going to put a sign right in the middle. I typically won't put a bow on it anywhere. If I do a bow, it'll be one of those traditional bows where it has the loops on the top and then the tails that come down. I may put one of those in a wreath like this, or a wreath that I put a sign in the middle. Or I do one big massive bow at the top, and then I add something over here on the bottom or somewhere. Or I do a 3-bow, which are smaller bows, and I strategically place them on one side of the wreath, and then I place my other items on the other side of the wreath. I like that look, so I'm going to go with that today. Okay, so let's go ahead, and I have a bow maker right here. Let me turn it around here. And here are my ribbons that I'm using in my wreath. I use typically the ribbons that are in my wreath. Sometimes I add a ribbon because I need to add a different color, or maybe I just don't have enough of the ribbon left to make the bow. There's all different reasons. So this time I do have enough. So I will place all of these in my bow. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's what I'm going to use. Typically I use the biggest at the bottom. So I have 2 at 1.5 inches. Those are the yellows pretty much. And then I have 4 at the 2.5. So I'm going to start with this one. It's a double-sided. So, I mean, I'm going to do something different. And I'm not going to twist this one. I'm going to have like a yellow and a buffalo check. Let's see how that comes out. It's going to be interesting. So I do a I'm going to do since this is a smaller, my loops are going to be 6 inches, and every time I change my ribbon out, it's going to go down 1/2 inch. So I'm going to start with an 8-inch tail. And I'm just going to place it into my bow maker, just like that. And then I'm going to bring my ribbon around. This side is going to be a yellow loop. This side is going to be a black and white check loop. This side is going to be a black and white check tail. Over here should be a yellow tail. So let's see how this is going to come out. I may not like it, so I don't know yet. So I'm going to start with a 6-inch loop. Bring this down. I'm going to make this a 6-inch loop. Bring this down. And I'm going to cut this, if I can find my scissors that I have, at 8 inches. And if you watched my videos before, I'm sorry that I do a lot of the same stuff over and over again. This is a little different. I actually like this. I pre-arrange my bows on my bow maker. So what I do is I bring a loop up, and I bring the associated tail that goes with this loop. I'm going to bring it up as well. Okay? And then I'm going to bring which, you know what? That's funny because this didn't change the color. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make some twists here because I want one yellow and one not yellow. So I'm going to bring these two up, just like I said. This is where you get to play with your stuff, and you really get to, this is where you learn. So I'm going to flip this one around, this tail. And then that way I have a yellow tail and a yellow loop. So here we go. This is our base. So we have a yellow tail right down here, a yellow loop, we have a buffalo check, and a loop and a buffalo check tail. I think that's pretty cool. I think I like that. So let's go with that. Now I'm going to use, I think, this one right here. So again, I'm going to make a 7-inch tail. Well, I'm going to keep them at 8 inches. Now this one is only one-sided, so we always want to keep the pretty side up. So we're going to have to do some twists. So I'm going to make a 8-inch tail. And I'm going to gather where I'm going to place it into the bow maker. But what I'm going to do on the side that the other bow or the loop is going to be created, you're going to have to twist that. So you'll take it and you'll twist it. So you have your tail over here, and you're going to be able to bring your bow around, which is going to be a 5.5-inch bow this time. Loop, I should say. I keep saying bow, sorry. It's going to be a 5.5-inch loop. There we go. It's going to lay right there. And then I'm going to just gather it up, and I'm going to twist this side now, because this side is where I'm going to make the loop. So it's going to be a 5.5-inch loop right here. I don't have to twist that time because the tail is already on the right side. So we're going to make that an 8-inch tail. And again, I place them as I go. So the loop is going to go down here. This associated tail will come down with it. This loop will go up here. This tail will go up here. So that's how our bow is going to look when we get it completed, okay? Now, I think I'm going to add this black and white striped. This one came from Old Time Pottery, if you're curious where this came from. Again, 8-inch tail. Again, this is a one-sided ribbon, so we're going to have to twist. So our loop on this side will be on the right. See, right now, if I kept it the other way, it would have looped and you would have saw that. I guess if you like that, you can do it, but I'm not. I'm going to keep it the correct way. And this is going to be a 5-inch loop. So you're going to take your ribbon, you're going to scrunch it up, and you're going to twist it on this side. Make sure your ribbon is not twisting over. And then you're going to do the same thing for this loop. And just bring it down. Cut an 8-inch tail. Oops. Whoops, that didn't work out for me too well. Since there's a loop, the last ribbon that we did, the loop is up here, so we're going to put the tail up here, okay? So we're alternating tails and loops. We're going to bring this loop down. We're going to bring this loop up. We're going to bring this tail down. So again, we're alternating tails and loops. That's all we're doing. And there we go. Now I'm going to use, I'm going to use this yellow. I don't like to use since we're getting closer to the top, we have 3 ribbons left. I'm going to use the 1.5 inch now. And this one is going to be and it's double-sided, so you don't have to make any twists. It's fairly easy. You just place it, bring your loop, do the 4.5 inch. You can already place it in there, so you just want to bring it 4.5 inches. And you're going to do this one the same. You want 4.5 inches. And you're just going to cut your tail. The reason I keep my tail so long is because I don't know what length I want my tails at the moment, so I keep them longer because I can always cut. I cannot add. Technically, I guess you can if you add more ribbon, but I don't want to waste. Let me put it that way. And I'm just placing them how I want them to be. And my honeycomb is going to be my top row, I think. So I'm going to go ahead and put this ribbon on. And remember, we're doing 3 of these bows. And when I do the other bows, I will probably swap it out a little bit, how the bows are arranged, or how the ribbon is arranged. So this is going to be a 4-inch loop. Now, you're going to bring it down to 4 inches. And you can just double check and make sure that's at your 4 inches. And then this side is going to be the same. Your 4 inches. And then you're going to cut your tail. Sometimes you may have to twist your ribbon a little bit because it may fall with underneath there. Okay. You'll be fixing your loops when you get it on your wreath itself. So let's just make sure this one is right here. I don't like how that one's sitting, so I'm going to scrunch it myself and place it in there differently and have it sitting like that. I think that's a little bit better. Okay. And that tail comes up like this. Sometimes ribbon just gives you a hard time. You just have to play with it. Okay, and then our last ribbon is going to be the honeycomb. And this is going to be a 3.5 inch. It's not laying in my wreath thing or my bow maker very good today. There's just so much in there right now that it's just not doing a very good job of holding it. You basically just want to make sure that your ribbon is the right way and the loops are about the same. Like you always want the one loop on top a little bit smaller than the loop under it. is really what it comes down to in this particular type of bow. And here we could make 4 loops, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to keep it consistent. And I'm going to do just the 2 with each ribbon. And there's our first bow. I use zip ties because I feel like they are a little bit easier to work with the bows. So I use a long one. If you need 2 of them, just put them together. I'll show you. Most generally you don't need one, but you'll just make sure you place it correctly so this side will end up being able to go into this side and zip. That's all you got to do. So how we do this is, me placing my bows has created a little place for me to put my zip tie, which I like that. So push all this down. I'm going to bring this around and this up, and I'm just going to go ahead and put it together at this point, just because I'm not tightening it. I'm just making sure it's together so I don't have to worry about doing that after this. Okay, so it's on. It's not tight by any means, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to push this ribbon together pretty tightly and securely, and I'm going to wrap this around, and that allows me to now tighten it much easier than if it wasn't together. You don't want to tighten it tight because you want to be able to add this other pipe cleaner in there, because this is the one that you're going to use to secure onto your wreath form. And there it is. So, and now I can tighten this as tight as I can get it, and I will cut that piece off because I don't need that anymore. And this is what is going to be used to put it into the wreath. So you just want to pull your wreath loops around, making sure one is on the opposite side of the other, because you have opposites here. And that's all you're doing, is creating that bow look. And when you place it onto your actual wreath form, you're going to be able to see where these need to go. And that's typically what it's going to look like in the wreath. And then we will cut our tails, and we're going to make 2 more of these. So I'm going to go ahead and fast forward while I make this, because if I don't, it will make for a long video. Now I will probably switch up my ribbon now. Like, I started with the buffalo check with the yellow on the bottom, but I may start with the stripe this time, put this on, and then put this on the top. We'll see. Let's go ahead and do that so we can see how it's going to come out. So basically there's your bow again. Now we have 3. So we have our 3 bows. Let me move these over so we can have some room. Now, before I place my ribbon on, I'm going to place my bows. Because this allows me, look, I'm all about saving on my stuff. So, if I don't have to use as many bows or ribbons or what have you, or mesh, whatever it is, I'm gonna save somewhere. So, this is where I'm going to save it. I'm going to save with my ribbon. Ribbon costs a lot of money. People don't realize that's the biggest cost, I think, of a wreath itself, is the ribbon. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place the ribbon or the bow onto the wreath form. And we're going to see where the ribbon needs to go after that. That way, we don't have to put a ribbon in each pipe cleaner because the bow will be covering that up a little bit, if that makes sense. So I'm just going to place my first one because it really doesn't matter where I place my first one. It's going to be towards the middle of the wreath form. When you're using zip ties, the zip tie will go through the mesh. If you're using pipe cleaners, you need to find a spot that you can stick your pipe cleaners through. And usually the hole is where the 2 rolls of your woodland ruffle are. So there's the hole that I would go through. So technically, I can put my, if I was using a pipe cleaner, I would do that. If I'm using a zip tie, the one side of it will go through the mesh. So I don't have to worry about both sides, just one side. And then I'm going to, there's my pipe or my zip tie. Here's my other one. It's coming through the mesh right there. And I'm going to tie them together. If I can hold on to that one. Using long sleeve shirts, you get stuck to your mesh as well. Now, I don't tie my zip ties tight all the way. I just get it secure because I may want to move my bow around after I get it onto my wreath. So right now I'm just trying to figure out where these are going to go and bring them up a little bit. Make sure that they're sitting correctly. Because these 2 should go, this one and this one should be similar. These over here should be. So we're just gonna make it to where it looks right at the moment. Okay. I don't know about, this one needs to go over here. I don't know why that one was, it keeps wanting to flip over and come on the other side, but we don't want that to happen. So we're just gonna play with it until we get it to where we like it. And remember, we're going to be cutting these tails off as well. So those are going to be a different area. So it'll make it look, the tails being cut, dovetailed, will make the bows look totally different. I'm not going to lie. Let me show you. I'll even show you right now. So the tails are all over the place right now. If you just start cutting them and dovetailing them, it's going to make a big difference in the way it looks, because now they're going to be a little fluffy. This one is driving me crazy. These 1.5 inch ones are driving me a little bonkers at the moment. And towards the center of the wreath, I make them longer because I might want them to be down in there, if that makes sense. So I keep them longer towards the middle of the wreath because I may need that to cover something up. And that makes a difference. I mean, it actually makes a big difference on your wreath with the tails cut. There's times I forget to cut my tails, or I'll forget to cut one. It happens. And this needs to come forward a little bit more. Like I said, I like them kind of up a little bit like that. Okay, so that's one. Now we got to strategically place the other one and then do the other one. So we have our zip ties. Okay, and then we're gonna place this one probably right around there, and then we're gonna place the other one probably right here, so you can see the pattern is kind of going up, and then we're gonna use this side as the placement for our items. So I'm gonna place this one right here. And there. And then you just go around and cut your tails. Cammy, what do you want, Cammy? And towards the end, you will be fluffing these up anyway, so I would not stress over these right now. You will be placing them more so later on, because I want some over here and all that good stuff. So right now, that's what our wreath looks like, and it's looking pretty good if you ask me. So with that, now I go around and I place my ribbon. Where do I want my ribbon? Well, I'm gonna need a ribbon here, here, and here, and here. So there's 4. Normally there's 8 up here, so I only have to use 4 sets of ribbon on the top. Now I will use 10 on the bottom, so that's 14 compared to 18. You're saving 4 sets of ribbon. That's big if you cut them at 14 inches a piece. That's a lot of ribbon to save. Every little piece that you can save is awesome. So I say go for it. Now, what do I want to place up here? That's the question. So I have this ribbon. I have my honeycomb. I have this double-sided. I have my black and white. And I have this other bee. And I think I have, oh, here's some more honeycomb. I'm missing some over here. It's just the extras of all of these, okay. So I think I'm gonna do the honeycombs with these two together. And I think, cause I think I did multiple honeycombs. And oh no, I did yellow too. Okay, so I'm gonna do this with this. Okay, honeycombs. I'm gonna do this with this. And I'm gonna do this yellow with this one. So there's all of our ribbon right there. So there's 3 pairs of ribbon here, and they're all cut at 14 inches apiece. But since this honeycomb and this one is right here, I'm not going to place the honeycomb in the B one right there. I'm going to probably do this one right here. This is what I'm going to place right in that area. Let me move, these are all wonky. You can only see part of my workstation. It's a hot mess right now because I've been moving everything from my room to out here because I have more room out here. And since it's out in the open, I gotta clean it up because I don't want it messy, but right now it's a hot mess. Okay, I cut a lot more honeycombs than I'm gonna use, but that's because I was going to use it instead of the yellow. But I think the yellow is gonna work out okay. So I have, and if I don't like the yellow, I can always go back and put the honeycomb on there. I just think the honeycomb gives it a little bit more texture, and that's what it is. It's about the bees. It's not. The honeycomb brings it a lot of character, in my opinion. Okay, so we're going to use this one for this first one. So what you want to do is you'll want to undo the zip tie or the tie there, and you want to just get your ribbon ready, and you're going to place it. And I'm just doing the top row first because I only have 4 to do on this top row, and I want to make sure that I get them placed how I want to place them. And then you just, oh, you know what I didn't do with all of these? I didn't dovetail them. That's funny because normally I do that first. So let me go ahead and dovetail all of these. I'm going to go ahead and fast forward it, but how you dovetail it, I'll show you here in just a second. Let me just get these 4 done. How did that flip? That flipped over. Or something. Yeah. Cami, hold on. Okay, so how you dovetail these is you take your ribbon. I think this is what takes the longest when you're working on this stuff. You fold it over. I do 2 at a time, and you just cut it as such. And you do the other side too. Yep, don't forget to do the other side. So you fold it together and you go up from the closed side up to the open side, and that creates a dovetail. So I went ahead and dovetailed all my ribbons. So I'm going to the next set of pipe cleaners here on my Wreath form, and I'm going to place another ribbon. And I think I'm going to do the honeycomb. So what I do is I go to the middle of the ribbon and I just scrunch it up in the middle. Then I crisscross my ribbon, and then I place it directly into the pipe cleaner itself. And then you twist it, secure it, and then you're just going to fluff it up, which this part will happen again towards the end of the wreath making process as well. Right now you're just getting it placed because you're going to be moving this all over, especially if you have a big piece to put in the middle. You're going to be moving this all over the place. So I'm going to put this one next, and it's the yellow with the black and white plaid and the yellow on the other side. And again, I'm just going to crisscross them. I'm going to go right here to the middle of the pipe cleaners, and I'm going to push it down as far as I can, secure it, and then just fluff it up a little bit. And there it is. And then the next one is right here. And it's gonna have this in there, but it's okay. It's just gonna be part of that. So we're just gonna get the next set of ribbon, bunch it together, crisscross it, and place it in the middle of our wreath form with the ties here. And just how I fluff them is I take my 2 fingers and I usually just go up and bring it up. However, as you saw, sometimes down here is a little wonky. It's because this one has like a hard edge. So sometimes you can just like crinkle that edge somewhere and it'll lay better. I don't particularly like working with the ribbon that has the hard edges to them, but sometimes you like the pattern so much that you just go with it. Okay, so that's the top of our wreath so far. And now we're gonna do the bottom row. So we're gonna place a ribbon in every single one. So we're gonna have 10 pairs of ribbons down here at the bottom. I do like my rolls to show, so I do try to go in and grab my rolls from everywhere, because sometimes they get placed in the back because you've been moving this all over the place. You just want to make sure that it looks good, especially if you're going to be selling it. This one I'm not selling. This one I am putting it in my office. Every time, like I said, every time I put one in my office, somebody wants to buy it. So it'll be interesting to see how long this one lasts. It's a cute little spring wreath. And that's why I'm doing it, because I'm hoping this one will last a while in my office. Okay, so I don't want this one right below, but I'm not saying that it's not going to be beside each other eventually. But right now I'm going to try and go with the pattern here. I think I'm going to start with the honeycomb. And you just again pleat it or gather it in the middle here. I do them in the next form, and I just place it into the wreath, the pipe cleaners on the wreath form, secure it by twisting it, and then just fluff it. Now I'm going to go ahead and fast forward this, because once you see me how I put them in there, it should be easy to do. So just make sure you undo the pipe cleaners before you start doing all the ribbon. Just put it in a pattern that you want and just go throughout the whole bottom layer and place your ribbon. That's what we're going to be doing. And so the next one I'm going to do is this one with this black and white stripes. And here's where I'm going to start fast forwarding it. Okay, and here's all the ribbon that we have left over that we don't have to use, and that's a lot. That's a lot of ribbon that we saved because we did the 3 bows, and we have four sets of ribbon left over, and that's a lot of ribbon if you ask me. It's a lot of savings right there. So that's what our wreath looks like right now. It looks really good. It's pretty full. It's really nice. I like it. And here's our bows. So we have our bows right here. And so we have this area right here to play with to add things. I do have my little bee that I want to add. I'll probably add it to the bow up here or something. But I probably will do a sign like I said earlier. I just have to figure out what Okay, so I'm going to use this sign, and I'm going to be using this bee to decorate the wreath. So what I'll do is I will take a few of these zip ties, probably 2 for each side. And what I'll do is I will put them in the holes that are in the sign itself. And that's how we're going to secure the sign into the wreath. Okay, so, and then I have a zip tie on the little bee to secure him into, or her, into the wreath. Now, we have the 3 bows here. And we're going to place the sign, over here. And I think I'm going to have it kind of a little cockeyed here. And I'm just going to have it laying on top. So I'm not going to push it too hard into the mesh. But I need to find an opening for my sign here to put it in here. Okay, so there's that. And then this one will go through the, I'm going to put it down here because I kind of want it to be there, down here. So I'm going to put this one through the mesh. And secure it around the wreath form itself. There. And I'm not gonna pull it tight just yet because I don't know exactly where I want that. And I may have to move one of these bows, like this bow right here. I think I'm gonna have to move it. See, that's the problem sometimes. That's why I don't tighten them too much, because sometimes I have to move them because I don't like where it's placed right now. So let's just move this bow. There's our sign. Here's our other bow. Here's our other things here. And we're gonna have to play with these a little bit more here in a little bit, but right now I'm just trying to get them to bring this one up over this. So it kind of hides that. Here's one. I'm going to bring this way. And you're just going to fan them however you see fit. Okay, and that's where that's going to go. And I probably need to bring that up. This bow's right here. This one's right here. Okay, now we're going to have to place this other bow I might have to move this one too a little bit just to get it in there. I don't know yet. Let's see. We're gonna, because I feel like there, maybe not. Maybe if I can get these to lay the way I want them, we'll be okay with that. Okay. So here's where the sign's gonna be. And then we're gonna put the other bow over here. So I need to put another zip tie in here because I broke that other one off. So what I'll do is I'll just feed it underneath the one that's in there, if I can get it in there. And I may have to move. Nope, there it is. Okay. So I'm gonna take this one out and put this one in. And I'm gonna use 2 because I'm gonna need 2 here. Okay. And then we're gonna place this, fix it a little bit here. I feel like it needs to be fixed a little bit. Okay. And where are we gonna place this one? Probably right here, just like this. I think I like it like that. I think that's gonna be good right there. So what we'll do is we will find the hole again. You can always find the opening so you can put these in here. And just push it through, let it come over.